Worker abuse, false payment, and union violations are all things that could lead Quackity to go to jail. And today in the video we will be investigating that and more. First problem was his merch. Now, QSMP was a part of a Minecraft world with many content creators, and so Quackity decided to monetize it, giving out free merch, and those who won in the giveaway were never responded to. It would take months and months and months, some even reporting 4 months, 6 months, and others just simply did not get their merch. So we'll be looking into that. To those that received invoices that were lucky enough to get a response, we have to look at who sent it, and it was 5 Hills, a merge company. And some of you might be thinking, well, that could be a third-party company who scammed Quackity, as has happened in the past before. But if we look at the website, actually, we can see that it says rebrand creators, so it leads people to believe it's a third party. But if we do look at the business bureau page, we can actually see that there is a address, and if you look that address on Google Maps, it'll lead you to a storage facility. And once you look at the storage units, you see that there is green numbers and markings on them. And if we look in Mario Kart in real life video with Quackity in it, you'll actually find out that there's the exact same green markings that are also shown in the Google Maps. So it correlates it to him. Those lucky enough to receive merch came with it damage or scratch as shown by PDL, who was a QSMP editor, I believe. And here's what he had to say with his own merch and how destroyed it became. And so here's the video.
I had some quality issues, and I'll get into that. And I'm not the only one, because I had a friend. They had quality issues as well. They bought some coins. These are the ends between me and that person from almost a year ago. For example, they got a coin, like a Lost and Found coin, and it's all scratched up. Look at this part over here. Look at this image. Scratch, 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 scratch. Like, that's so bad. But you might think, like, okay, we've all seen those like clips of, like, I don't know, UPS drivers or something, or FedEx drivers who like just kick the packages into your porch or something, and then like this can happen. Like, sure, like it's possible, but that does not explain the issue that I had. I bought some posters, and this is how they arrived. They put it in a thing and they fucking folded the poster. It looks fucking horrible. Look at these lines. Look at these lines. That looks horrible. And they're actually so bad because they were folded so hard that if you look closely, I don't know if you can see this, but they're actually like white lines here because like the ink isn't there anymore because of the fold. So it's actually just damaged. Like, this is damaged. And to be fair, I did get a refund for this, but that did not get damaged in shipment. That got damaged in packaging. Who folds a poster like this? You're supposed to put them in like those like cylinders. That's what you're supposed to do. You might think then maybe they are just dumb. Maybe they are just dumb and they just didn't know that you weren't supposed to fold a poster. But I do think they know, because if they didn't know, then why did this person on Twitter not get a folded poster? They actually got it in a cylinder. It's the same poster, but they got it in a cylinder. Why did I get a folded one and they got it in a cylinder? I think it might have been because I ordered more things than one, and it would have been easier to ship. All the posters should have been shipped like this, but mine wasn't. And I'm not the only one, because the same person that I talked to earlier, they also had the line. Look how terrible that looks. I really don't want to believe that this is malicious. But it's just so fucking cheap. I think it's cheap. I think it's just cheap and incompetent.
Because of this, a spreadsheet was created showing all the people who replied on Twitter saying if they received their message, and there was just no data, and a majority of them did not receive their items. And then once this started to snowball, admins then came forward about the abuse, workload, and other violations that Quackity had committed towards them. One of the really interesting admins, who is really cool in my opinion, is Bipio. He's a web developer who had to deal with Quackity shenanigans, as in he worked in for hours and hours on end, while also facing financial insecurity. And there was also the problem where he would work for hours and hours, for example 11 hours, and he documented all of it while editing, and he would not get paid a dime. It was so bad that he totaled the amount to be 230 hours and only got paid $2,500, and this was all through PayPal. None of it was through official, taxable forms or anything like that. And this leads into another thing. This is where the French Union starts to play in. So a person by the name of Ack on Twitter decided to collect all the information from the admins and have a case against Quackity. And this is really, really fucking big. And it was all under the guise of volunteer work, but in all reality, Quackity just decided, oh, there's a chance you can have employment. And this is where he had to say to address things.
I've been notified about an ongoing situation regarding Quackity Studios, and I want to address it. Please bear with me as I'm barely catching up on a lot of these matters. What I'm gathering is that volunteers for Quackity Studios are not being paid and are being given too many hours of activities. I want to let everyone know that I was aware of a voluntary position, and I was under the assumption that there was a process volunteers would go through to integrate themselves to the team with a fully paying job. What I was not aware of is to what extent and conditions were being required from the volunteers. And I want to thank everyone who brought this to my attention, because it is very clear to me that I need a much deeper involvement in the administrative part of my team, something I have not been very involved with recently. I'm going to perform a deep investigation personally on this matter as to see exactly what's happening. But one thing is very clear to me. There are going to be very drastic changes in QSMP moving forward, from the administrative perspective and from the creative perspective as well. My responsibility relies on knowing what is happening in the project I am running. And for not being more involved, I want to deeply apologize. This should have never happened, and I'm extremely disappointed. From here on out, I want to make one thing clear. Everybody involved in Quackity Studios will be paid. And if at any point my own funds are not sufficient enough to pay workers or maintain the project, then the QSMP cannot continue and it will close down.
Because of this, QSMP shut down, and so everyone was mad about it, particularly Quackity fans and other international fans. And so, me as a Latin American, I decided to translate some of the dialogue that was said in tweets, such as fans deciding to want to hire hitmen to kill the other people who are preying on Quackity's downfall, which obviously did not happen. And there is also the legal prosecution and what happened afterwards. There is a lot of sources that I could find, and I use ChatGPT because its text pattern has legal data. But basically, he could have legal proceedings, extradition, and civil lawsuits. So he could actually be the first YouTube criminal to be on Interpol, meaning that there is actually an extradition treaty with the US and France to bring him over to France and go through the civil lawsuit if it has to be done. And moreover, I do believe that he can pay his admins and all those that he did not pay and could have kept the QSMP up, because he makes a total around 51k. That's just an estimate monthly. He makes 51k monthly as an estimate, and the reason I had to believe that is because of the hourly rates he does on Twitch, and that doesn't even include sponsorships or the merch deals and whatnot. Now, there are some other subjects I didn't talk about in this video. For example, Quackity's brother being also a predator and leaking out a twit longer, but I didn't want to cover that because I didn't feel like it was relevant to the topic. And there was also another pedophile on QSMP, and shocker, I know, but there was also controversy with Wilbur Sue, and he also got removed. So I guess there was a little bit more drama happening into it, but it was all really irrelevant into what happened with Quackity, because he's actually being found liable and could probably face jail time, which I think is really interesting, which is why I covered it in this video. So if anyone asks about that, that's all I really have to say, because there isn't much I can provide and offer. And there is also the controversy, and the reason why you might think like, well, the admins might have known this and kicked them off. Well, they had poor communication, so they didn't know that there was a pedophile on, the QSMP. And Quackity's brother, he's still out there, and he has no consequences or anything. And so I decided to end off the video here. I really hope you guys enjoyed it, and I want you all to have a beautiful day. And you're an awesome person, and see ya. Thank you for supporting the channel.